You're listening to the Reaching Japan podcast. My name is James Miyashita. So glad that you're here today. In this podcast, we cover updates and news about what's currently happening in our lives and ministry. You can find us on the web at reachingjapan.com, facebook.com/reachingjapan, and twitter.com/reachingjapan. Now, if you haven't already, please leave us a review for this podcast so others can find it as well and join us on the journey of reaching Japan with the gospel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's what we're going to be talking about. You may have seen in our recent update how our younger son Amos had a seizure. I wanted to share a little bit more about that with you. He had been running a fever for a little bit, and then we had put him to bed on Friday night, close to around 8 p.m. And our boys, they do well. They sleep through the night pretty well. So typically they go to bed around 8 or so, and they wake up around 7:30 in the morning. So we're really blessed to have them sleeping through the night. But after he had gone to bed, he woke up about 2 hours later, and he was crying. And so Rosie went up to check on him, and she was like, "James!" And so and she brought him down, and he was spazzing out. So we called the ambulance, and they came, and we went to the hospital in an ambulance. He and I did, and then Rosie stayed back. Shout out to Rebel Hill, who just jumped in a car and came over to our house to make sure Silas would be okay while Rosie came to the hospital. And so he was spazzing for like 4 to 5 minutes, and then once we got into the ambulance, it kind of started to slow. It was slow down right before we got in the ambulance, but even after we got in the ambulance, he was kind of out of it. His eyes were kind of looking to the left, and he wasn't all there. And so a few minutes later, he just jolted and woke up. And that's when he started making eye contact. And after that, he seemed to be a lot better. So they gave us some meds and sent us home. And then Rosie took him to the doctor the following morning while I watched Silas at home. And apparently it's pretty common over here. We've actually talked to many people after that, and they seem to be like, "Oh yeah, that happens." So it was a little different. It wasn't a panicky response or anything like, "Oh yeah, our kid has done that too before." And so it seems like it's actually a common occurrence. Anyway, so the results are that Amos is okay. He's doing much, much better, and he's walking around, playing, laughing. So thank you so much for praying for us, though. We really do appreciate it. I'm actually currently in Nagoya. I got here yesterday, and I've been meeting with various people. When it's all said and done, I will have met with 14 people if all goes according to plan. I came yesterday. I leave tomorrow. I've got 5 meetings today. And God's really just been showing me what's going on in the city. And it's been really cool to see how God is at work, but there's still so much work to be done. Yesterday, I had the chance to go down by the port. Nagoya is a port city. It's right on the water. And I've been told that some of the districts right along the port are basically right at sea level. So if anybody, if there ever were a major disaster like a tsunami, that area would get wiped out. And it was really heartbreaking to see that. And the people that live there, they know that as well. And a lot of new people that are moving into the area avoid that area. And it's just heartbreaking to see that, there's so many people who live there. And and that part of town especially doesn't have a lot of churches. And so just heartbreaking to see that, and just asking God, please do a work here as well. And so trying to continue to learn about the city, learn about what people on the ground are saying. So please pray for a continued fruitful trip. I am trying to record some 360 videos on this trip as well, and we're going to be putting them up as a virtual reality missions trip in like 2-minute clips, so people can visit Japan virtually. Everything's gone online, right? So we're going to be doing that. My friend Nate Bowman, who currently works for Pensacola Christian College, is going to be helping us with the editing, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with him on this project. Earlier this week, I was in Nagoya at Pastor Mike Burgett's church recording some messages, and we were recording some music and messages last week as well. And we're excited. The Stay Home Church event that we've got planned is next week. So once I get home, I'll be editing those and putting them together. So ask that you pray for that to be used. We made flyers. We've been advertising online, tissues, everything, just trying to get the word out. So pray that God will use this and we can see people come to know Jesus through this Stay Home Church campaign.
So that's a little bit of what's been going on here. Now, if you have any questions or comments about what we talked about today, I'd love to hear from you. I will do my best to answer those questions on this podcast. You can always reach me via email. My email address is james@reachingjapan.com. That's james@reachingjapan.com. We are honored to serve under the direction of Vision Baptist Church and Vision Baptist Missions in Alpharetta, Georgia. If you're looking for a way to take your next step in ministry or missions, please reach out to me. Thanks for tuning in today. We will see you next time.